Welcome back to the channel, everyone. And if you're new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button because today we have a critical update that affects millions of South Africans, especially our senior citizens. We're diving deep into the 2025 SASSA Old Age Grant increase. Yes, that's right. How much you can expect when the changes are happening and why this update matters more than ever in the current economic climate. This isn't just another announcement, it's a lifeline for many, and we're breaking it all down with exact amounts, projections, and expert analysis. So, sit back, grab a warm cup of tea, and let's walk through everything you need to know about the SASSA Old Age Grant increase in 2025. Let's begin with the basic fact that SASSA, the South African Social Security Agency, is the institution responsible for providing crucial monthly financial assistance to elderly citizens who have reached retirement age and qualify under the government's means test. The Old Age Grant has been a pillar of support for many who do not have access to a pension fund or formal retirement savings. With the rising cost of living, inflation that keeps pressing down hard on household budgets, and increased expenses for things like electricity, transport, and food, the need for increased financial support has never been more urgent. And this is why the 2025 grant increase is making headlines across the country. It's not just a policy change, it's a matter of survival for many. According to the latest official information from the National Treasury and the Department of Social Development, the SASSA Old Age Grant will see a tangible increase starting from April 2025. The increment is part of the broader national budget announced by Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana, who emphasized the government's commitment to protecting vulnerable populations amid economic pressures. The key question on everyone's mind is, how much more will pensioners receive? Well, we now have concrete figures. For the first half of the 2025 financial year, from April to September, the Old Age Grant will increase by 100 Rand. Then, starting in October, it will increase again by 10 Rand, making the total annual increase 110 Rand for most pensioners. This means that from April 2025, older persons aged between 60 and 74 will receive 2,190 Rand per month, up from 2,090 Rand in the previous financial year. And from October 2025 onward, the amount will rise to 2,200 Rand per month. For senior citizens aged 75 and older, the amount will be slightly higher. They will begin receiving 2,210 Rand per month from April, and then 2,220 Rand from October. These incremental increases are modest, but they are significant when viewed against the backdrop of economic hardship, especially for those relying entirely on this grant to make ends meet. Now, some might wonder why the increase isn't larger, given the high rate of inflation in South Africa, which has impacted the cost of basic goods like maize meal, bread, and even public transport fares. The truth is, the government is walking a tightrope between balancing fiscal responsibility and providing adequate social support. Minister Godongwana explained during the budget speech that while the government would have liked to offer a bigger increase, fiscal constraints and high debt servicing costs limited how much could be allocated to social grants. Still, despite those challenges, the government decided to prioritize pensioners by ensuring the Old Age Grant sees a meaningful boost in 2025. It's important to note that this increase is not just about numbers. For many older South Africans, this is the difference between a full meal and going hungry, between accessing healthcare and postponing a critical doctor's visit. This grant allows many to pay for transport to clinics, purchase necessary medications, and keep the lights on. With electricity tariffs soaring and fuel prices unstable, that extra 100 Rand or 110 Rand per month can go a long way in helping pensioners stay afloat. In addition to the Old Age Grant increase, the government has also adjusted other social grants, including the Disability Grant, Child Support Grant, Foster Child Grant, and the War Veterans Grant. These adjustments are all part of a larger effort to ensure that the social safety net is strengthened in 2025, especially as South Africa continues to recover from the aftershocks of the pandemic and the economic stagnation it caused. However, it's clear that among all these grants, the Old Age Grant remains one of the most crucial because it directly supports individuals who are no longer part of the workforce and often have no alternative income. Let's also take a moment to discuss eligibility because understanding who qualifies for this grant and how to access it is just as important as knowing the increased amount. To qualify for the SASSA Old Age Grant, applicants must be South African citizens, permanent residents, or refugees who are 60 years or older. They must not be receiving another social grant for themselves, and they must not be cared for in a state institution. Most importantly, they must pass a means test, which examines their income and assets to ensure the grant is going to those who truly need it. For example, single applicants must not earn more than 95,400 Rand per year, and married couples must not have a combined income exceeding 190,800 Rand per year. Asset limits are also considered: 1.37 million Rand for single applicants and 2.74 million Rand for couples. The application process remains straightforward but thorough. Applicants can apply online through the SASSA website or visit their nearest SASSA office with the required documents, which include a South African ID, proof of income, proof of residence, and bank statements. If the application is successful, the grant will be paid monthly either through a direct deposit into a bank account, a SASSA card, or even cash pay points in rural areas. The system is designed to be accessible to even those in remote regions, although challenges still exist in terms of administration and accessibility. Now, while the R110 total increase for 2025 might seem small in isolation, let's put it in perspective. If we look at the inflation rate, which has hovered around 5% annually, and compare it to the increase in the grant, it becomes evident that while the grant isn't keeping up fully with inflation, the government is trying to close the gap. Many economists argue that the old age grant should increase by at least 150 to 200 Rand per year to match the rising cost of living. Still, the current increase is a step in the right direction, and there are ongoing discussions within government circles and civil society about further increases in the coming years. Public response to the 2025 increase has been mixed. While many pensioners have expressed relief that the government did not freeze the grant amount or issue only a symbolic increase, others have pointed out that the extra money doesn't stretch far enough. Civil society organizations, including pensioners' advocacy groups, have voiced concerns that even with the increase, many elderly people will still struggle to afford food, rent, and healthcare. These groups are calling for a more comprehensive review of the grant system and a possible shift toward a universal basic income model, especially for the elderly. Political analysts have also weighed in, noting that social grant increases are likely to become a hot-button issue in the 2025 municipal elections. With South Africa's high unemployment rate and widening inequality, social grants have become a critical tool for the ruling party to maintain support among voters. Some analysts predict that we could see additional increases or one-time bonus payments being announced in the lead-up to the elections. Whether this will materialize or not remains to be seen, but what's clear is that the issue of elderly support is firmly on the national agenda. Another key thing to consider is how this grant impacts the broader economy. When pensioners receive their grant money, they spend it in their communities, at local spaza shops, pharmacies, and transport services. This, in turn, supports small businesses and keeps the local economy alive. Research has shown that social grants in South Africa have a powerful multiplier effect, meaning that the money doesn't just benefit the recipient, but circulates throughout the economy. This is why economists and policymakers see the old age grant not just as a welfare tool, but as an economic stabilizer during uncertain times. Now, let's talk about what to expect moving forward. Will this be the last increase for 2025? According to the Department of Social Development, there are currently no plans for additional increases in the current financial year, apart from the October adjustment. However, the department has not ruled out further reviews if the economic situation deteriorates or if inflation spikes unexpectedly. It's also worth noting that the finance minister has left a window open for mid-year budget revisions, which means that if revenue collection exceeds expectations or if there is political pressure, we could potentially see another adjustment. Moreover, as the country moves toward 2026, there will be growing advocacy for a more substantial grant reform. Several think tanks and social policy experts are proposing the idea of a tiered grant system that would provide higher amounts to older pensioners or those with chronic health conditions. There is also talk of improving the efficiency of SASSA services, especially when it comes to payment delays, system outages, and long queues at payout centers. These are the kinds of reforms that will likely dominate the conversation in the coming months, and we'll be here to keep you updated every step of the way. In conclusion, the 2025 increase in the SASSA Old Age Grant, while modest, is a welcome relief for millions of elderly South Africans. With the increase of 100 Rand in April and a further 10 Rand in October, pensioners can now expect 2,200 Rand per month, or 2,220 Rand if they're over 75. It's not a fortune, but it's a step forward, a signal that the government hasn't forgotten its elderly citizens. Still, the fight for fair social grants is far from over, and as more voices join the call for reform, we may see even more impactful changes on the horizon. If you or a loved one depends on this grant, now is the time to stay informed, speak up, and ensure that your voice is heard in the national conversation. Thanks for watching this update. If you found this video helpful or informative, don't forget to hit the like button and share it with someone who needs to know this important information. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss a vital update about social grants, financial news, and government support. Let's continue to support each other and make sure everyone in our community stays informed and empowered. Until next time, take care, stay safe, and look out for one another.